Hey friends, this is Emily with burlapkitchen.com where I'm all about simplicity. Today we're going to be making a cute Santa. We're going to use a bell, a car cloth that I got from Dollar Tree. It's a microfiber one that I coffee dyed. A mop head I coffee dyed. The material is an old shirt that I got at Goodwill and ripped up, and also a piece of burlap. So I'm going to take this burlap and I am going to cut it out for the face. I like to double it up when I'm using burlap so you don't see the red of the oven mitt coming through. If you don't have burlap, you could use maybe an old white t-shirt that you coffee dyed, maybe some drop cloth, something like that would work well for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to glue the burlap down. Now when I glue it, I'm going to glue it at the top, and you'll see I'm going to leave a little bit at the bottom where I don't glue. Now I'm going to glue the second piece on too. I'm going to leave a little like at the bottom. I'm not going to glue it to the mitt because we might have to trim that down a little bit later. So I'm only gluing down probably about halfway. And watch your fingers when you're working with the burlap, because that does always, the glue will seep through and burn your fingers. So this shirt, this is literally the center of a men's button-down shirt that I got at Goodwill. I just put a little slit on each side and I just ripped it up the side, and that's I have no clue the size or anything. It was just the middle of that shirt. So I'm going to glue it to where the top meets the burlap, and then I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to even everything up here. I'm going to pull my edges up and make sure everything's nice and even and flat. And I'm going to start to glue this to the back. And I'm going to fold this other side over, and I'm going to do the same thing. And I see there's a little bit of material that I can save that's going to be extra. I'm not going to need that, so I'm going to cut it and then I'm going to rip it and I'm going to lay that in my craft stash for another craft. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this down, glue this back side down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all this. You can see how long that is. I'm going to pull that all up, and then I'm going to glue probably about halfway down, and I'm just gluing that together. You want to glue it so you make an opening because we're going to stuff it later. And do you see how that makes like a cute little hat? So now I'm going to add some these are just plastic bags. They work fine for this. I'm just going to add some of those to the top. This is just going to give the hat some volume. And I added one and I thought it needed a little bit more, so I decided to add another one to this. And that's why you want to leave that opening. Make sure you don't glue your material together so you have that opening to stuff that bag in. And now I'm just going to pull it down and let that hat hang out for a minute. Now I'm working with the microfiber car cloth. I got this at Dollar Tree and I coffee dyed mine. If you don't like the coffee dye look, you absolutely can skip that step. To do that, all I do is soak it in coffee for about 10 minutes and then I let it air dry. I'm folding the edges down and gluing them just so I have a nice clean looking edge. And I'm going to do that here to the other side too. And I said to let it air dry, but you could also bake it in the oven. If you do that, you want to bake it at the lowest possible temperature, and do not forget about it. Set a timer or something to remind yourself so it doesn't burn. So now I'm just going to glue that to the top. So it's starting to look like a hat already. I think this project is so cute. I know I do all kinds of different projects here on Burlap Kitchen, but this one is just fun. I just wanted to have some fun with it. So, so that's what we're doing. So now I'm going to go ahead and check out this face, and I think it needs trim just a little bit, so I'm just going to trim that up. And now we're going to take the mop head, and you can get a mop head at Dollar Tree. Without the handle, it's just the mop head, and I coffee dyed those as well. And what I like to do is I like to line it up along the beard, just the way that I like it to look, before I start gluing it down. And then once I get it looking the way that I want it to look, then I'll go ahead and start gluing everything down. And I did speed this process up quite a bit because I'm literally just gluing all these down. So I didn't want you to be on here real long just watching me glue them, so I did speed that up a good bit. Okay, so now to finish it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the mop strands and I'm going to run them across his face, or across the I don't know what you want to call that. The seams? I don't know. Where the mop heads meet the burlap. We're going to run that across there just to give a nice clean finish look and edge. And mine actually tucked under his hat a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to lay these buttons down, and you guys know I have to give rosy cheeks to everything. So I'm just taking some blush and a Q-tip and just rubbing in a circular motion to give Santa a little bit of cheeks. I'm going to lay my eyes in place. I have a little wood bead that I'm using for the nose. And I like to make sure everything is lined up well before I go ahead and glue it down, just so it looks nice. You guys know I have trouble getting things straight anyways, so I need all the help I can get in that department. Okay, so now that we got his nose down, now let's work on this hat. So I'm just going to kind of fold it around and get it to look how I want there on the side. And then I'm going to take some twine. Now I was kind of fiddling around with this for a little bit because I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing, but this was what I decided to do. I just tied it in a tight knot, and then I cut the excess off. Maybe you guys can come up with another creative way to finish the bottom of the hat, but this was what I come up with. So I'm going to take that jingle bell here in a minute, and we are going to actually, right now, I'm just going to go ahead and thread that through and tie that on. Like I said, I was totally winging it here with the end of the hat. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted, but I just felt like I wanted the jingle bell to be the end of the hat, the tip of the hat. So now that I tied the jingle bell on, I'm going to take another piece of twine, and I'm just going to tie a real simple bow. I think if you don't have a jingle bell, a pom-pom might look cute for the end also. So now that I have this real simple bow tied, I'm just going to trim it up, and then what I'm going to do is I am just going to hot glue the bell to the thumb of the oven mitt and glue that in place. Make sure you get it the way that you want it. And I'm going to mess with this hat here a little bit. I might end up putting a dab of glue up there to hold it in place a little bit later on. Now, to hang this, what I decided to do is just take a little piece of twine, and I just tied a little knot in it. And then my camera cut off, but I just glued it to the back of the Santa so he can be so I can hang him somewhere. So that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this project. This is a super fun project, and for more great ideas just like this one, please visit burlapkitchen.com. Thank you.